guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy you're here. If you're new here, hit the like and subscribe button, hit that bell so you know whenever I post a video. Guys, very quickly, I'm going to make this a very quick one. I just want to say, Joy Reid is amazing, and she is lost for nothing because MSNBC decided to cave in to Donald Trump and his MAGA sycophants, just like ABC News and, settling that lawsuit with Stephanopoulos. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. Just like that, just like Time magazine putting Donald Trump on the front of their magazine when this man is literally running America into the ground. He's literally like a fascist dictator from our history books from the 1940s. The fact that MSNBC, along with Amazon and Target and all these people, are just rolling along with these anti-black, let's just be very clear with what this is, moves that they're making are only cutting off their nose to spite their face, and it's amazing. I deleted my Amazon, MSNBC. I only watch The Weekend. If you want to get rid of your most famous black anchor, and pull that away from the black community, even though Joy Reid, Michael Steele, Simone Sanders are just tokens in a sea of white, which we're used to, okay. But if you want to pull away Joy Reid, go ahead. Because she has a home with the black community. We don't abandon our own. We don't abandon our own. So we're holding her. We're holding her steadily in our arms, and we're supporting her. She is such an amazing person. She's so intelligent. She's beautiful. She brought an energy to MSNBC that is gone. You can quite literally tell there is a vacancy. And for all those people who are going to say, oh, but Rachel Maddow, okay, cool. If Rachel Maddow is like your cup of tea, great. I think Rachel Maddow is cool. But honestly, when I looked at Rachel Maddow, I don't know. The culture wasn't there. Not everybody speaks in the same way. Not everybody has the same type of expressions, even facial expressions. I mean, why are we trying to deny something that is basically inherent? The world for 2,000 years basically made this big thing about race, and then finally it's like, oh, well, don't tell us how your race is suffering. Don't tell us how you've suffered in the past. Just don't talk about it, But, I mean, Joy Reid is going to be fine. I wanted to get on here and just say that. She's going to be fine. You MAGA sycophants did nothing. You did nothing but waste your own energy, and waste your own time. And I want to say the same thing about Fani Willis. I want to say the same thing about Letitia James, Tanya Chutkin, and every other black woman who has dared to speak out against Donald Trump. Sunny Hostin, you have done nothing to pull away from them. You burnt your own energy. You voted against your own interests. Your farms are being taken away. Your family members are being deported. Okay? Your eggs are $12. Like, okay. If that's what you want to do, okay. But, I mean, I just had to get on here and say that. And I'm so excited for whatever Joy Reid puts forward in the future. Because she has a lovely, beautiful, light-filled road ahead of her. Despite all of the stuff that you see online, if you go on YouTube and search her name, you're going to see 1,000 thumbnails with some white person looking like this. Okay? And with her next to them looking like, with the same kind of headline that says like, Joy Reid kicked to the curb. Joy Reid slammed by MSNBC. Joy Reid, I don't know. You guys know. And I felt that coming when I would see the comment section on her videos, which, if it was just about the performance of the videos, it was just about the performance of the content, it doesn't look like the Weekend show is really raking in the numbers like, Joy Reid was. And I'm pretty sure that there is a 50,000 viewer vacancy that's just, missing. The same way there was with Don Lemon. So, exactly like when CNN pulled Don Lemon, just like Joy Reid, a maverick within the black community, a very well-known face that finally gives some sort of diversity, as I said, in a sea of whites, someone who does their job really well, who's intelligent, who has a diverse, multifaceted audience, who brings in the numbers despite what they want to make it seem like, and then cut it loose. And you're telling me it doesn't have to do with race? You're telling me it doesn't have to do with you, sucking up to Trump and his followers? Same thing with Mehdi Hassan. Hated it. And you know what? I will pull my eyeballs away. And it's unfortunate because when users pull their eyeballs away, that means that institution of MSNBC or CNN, for example, might eventually crumble. They could. And MAGA would get what they want. MAGA would get what they want when they see that, because they basically just want like a Russian state TV, and they want Fox News to fill that role. So, but yeah, I watched the 24-hour State of the People live stream in place of the State of the Union that Donald Trump held a few weeks back. And Joy Reid spoke there, and it was wonderful. And Letitia James spoke there as well, and it was wonderful, And watching that in lieu of the State of the Union address, where disgraceful removal of Al Green, an elder, someone you should respect, someone who is fighting for the people, fighting for people's health, to maintain their health care, was removed. An old man on a cane, it just seems inhumane. But, yeah. And sadly, MAGA doesn't really understand that. Some people, MAGA type people, tinkered their way into the comment section, to the chat during that live stream. And it was violent, and it was MAGA, like literally lots of knife emojis and blood emojis and vile, racist, horrible words, But it didn't stop the energy. And that same way that you see that we keep moving forward. But I want to say that MAGA, for the most part, didn't roll in there. There were some few random outliers, but they didn't roll in there because that's not their culture. It's not their culture. The same way that I see all the time people say on comments in MSNBC's comment section on YouTube, which is horrendous. Please get moderators or just turn your comments off, But I see the people that roll in there, and from time to time I'll see someone like me who's a Democrat or a liberal or maybe progressive, I don't know, whatever. And they'll say something like, why do you MAGA people roll into these comment sections? We don't do that over on Fox News. We don't do that on Newsmax. And we don't. We literally don't have time or waste our time going over in there. Now, I know a significant amount of these trolls are bots. They're actually Russian bots. But some of these people are very, very real. And, yeah, I don't have much more to say. Joy Reid is going to be just fine. Don Lemon will be just fine. Tiffany Cross will be just fine. And the people, I find it funny that the people that these networks like MSNBC and CNN retained, when they got rid of the black or brown person who ruffled too many feathers, are like the Michael Steeles, are like the Simone Sanders, are like the Abby Phillips. And I'm sorry, but these are people who are playing by their rules. They speak in a way that sounds, I'm not going to go as far as to say white, because that's something that people said to me a lot growing up, and I don't know that I subscribe to that. But it's in a way that sounds very stoic. I'm telling the news in this way that the news media wants to both sides everything in this day and age, even though we have a tyrant who is, cutting the federal programs in the White House. Simone Sanders and Michael Steele break that a little bit more than Abby Phillips. But since Joy Reid was just herself, She was clearly an obvious target. Don Lemon played that game for a very long time, but that day with Vivek Ramaswamy, it was like, If you guys heard that Lil Wayne song, nothing. You ain't scaring nothing. That day, Don Lemon was like, no. Louisiana's coming out. I think he's from Louisiana, but anyway. Our community, we come together to protect our own when this happens, because it's happened a lot. It's happened a whole lot in America. You know, it's sad that in 2025 that we want to just deny this whole history of slavery, of Jim Crow, of redemption, of Reconstruction, of Ku Klux Klan, and the same stuff that's going on today. The same stuff. It's not like Black Lives Matter was born out of everything just being hunky-dory, but people were bored. Like, the struggle is still there. So the fact that, a whole faction of people are just denying that struggle and gaslighting, the Black community is just, like, weird. But we are survivors. We're like cockroaches. We don't die, we multiply. So now keep doing your thing. And, we'll keep sipping our tea.